The change of occupancy process should not be a long-winded event. It should be resolved fairly quickly in the process. And if they qualify, then it's just going to simply be a change.
Group stalking by helicopter flying over my office. This is audible activity he's monitoring.
I don't need to see that.
So is Carla Lopez.
If it continues as a notice, for instance, they're going to move out at the end because
P.O.C. the entity just amplified helicopter activity. He's going to federal prison anyway. This is federal stalking and audible activity creation. He's group stalking. This is P.O.C. Okay.
Are you talking to me or somebody else?
No, I'm listening to you. I'm reading my notes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right, so with regard to putting it in Yardi, you want me to refrain from entering the 30-day notice in Yardi until the change of occupancy procedure is complete? Am I?
Well, I thought we were talking about the VSR.
Yes, I am. That's what I'm saying. So if I get a 30-day notice, usually I enter it into Yardi, and if it's a market unit, it's something that I'm going to list on this VSR that you stated. Is that what you called it, a VSR?
If you get a notice from a resident, then you need to enter it into Yardi and put it on the VSR. Yes.
Regardless of whether there's a change of occupancy procedure that they.
Those things. So it depends. I can't say exactly because each circumstance could be different, Erica. It sounds like you have a situation where you have two residents, and you, from the outset, know that there's a change of occupancy. So I would call that a change of occupancy before I would call it a notice. They might technically be on notice, but it's going to be a change of occupancy or a requalification for one person. And that's not going to take 30 days to resolve. I presume they've given you the income information, they've completed the paperwork, it's just a matter of processing the application, right?
Right, which we're in the process of doing right now. The move-out dates oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I would say that, that question is going to be resolved fairly quickly. You probably don't need to enter the information in the VSR for me because you're going to resolve that issue long before I need to know about it. Yardi, you need to do what you need to do in Yardi as per the procedure and policy.
Okay.
This VSR report is not a policy issue. This is you updating me by my request because I want to keep track of notices and vacancies at the property for market rate units only. Am I making any sense?
Yes, so I'll just keep that one off of the VSR then because they're going through the occupancy procedure.
I think so. Because all you'd be doing is putting it on and then taking it off because they're going to requalify.
Right. Okay, and that's all that I formed a question in my mind when I typically overthink everything. And so I was like, I wonder if he wants me to list that even though they're going through that process, but technically...
I understand the question. Yeah. I understand the question and the logic behind it, and it's a good question. But it's because it's going to be there for an instantaneous moment in time and then be gone, I don't need that. If we determine somewhere along the process that they are in fact moving, then I would want it at that point.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Cool.
All right, thank you, Don.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Bye. That is audible activity by virtue of use of a communication device, which is relevant to Title 18 criminal conduct as well at the same time. The same criminal activity, the same despicable and cowardly act that the LAPD engaged in at 6 p.m. on video, after I just captured previous video of Luke Powell engaging in that very psychotic behavior, the lying in wait behavior, while LAPD flies over in circles in my apartment because the demon-possessed that are a part of a corrupt law enforcement agency that are waiting to be exposed on the world scene and federally prosecuted and having their lives deconstructed for purposes of neutralizing the threat that they pose in American society. That same entity, that same actor, that same criminal conduct of stalking using a helicopter, which is audible activity creation, demonic activity. All right, they're engaging in this while I'm on the phone with a third-party group stalker who was maliciously acting, engaging in the state's criminal system, facilitating the state's criminal system, and intentionally and maliciously doing so. He's calling my phone with simultaneity. I take a picture of my documentation of this. I'm documenting 9:36. He's calling seconds later at 9:37. This is audible activity creation. It's also operation of a communication device. This is relevant to federal stalking conduct. It's both at the same time, and it's relevant to what is the ongoing surveillance that's occurring through communication devices pursuant to and centered on. This is a method of targeting that simultaneity conduct. That's the monitoring behavior, and it's demonic as well. This is terrorism. This is harassment as an entity and sexual violence by the entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. At 9:50 in the morning while I'm on the phone, that same despicable conduct, like you saw the entity trying to hurry up and fly over my apartment very quickly to avoid being captured on video, that's exactly what happened while I'm on the phone with Don Noggle, who was a third party and who's going to federal prison by virtue of that documented criminal act. Okay, we are well beyond having to make up any information about corrupt law enforcement agencies stalking and engaging in surveillance in helicopters. Okay, that's exactly what they engaged in. Don Noggle is already facing federal prison. I'm not creating some consequence for him that I want him to suffer. This is creating what is policy that's going to apply universally with regard to public corruption that's occurring in the United States. California is going to be made an example out of. So the entity is engaging in what is posing an impermissible threat. By virtue of engaged in federal stalking, in concert with a corrupt government that's engaged in monitoring, that's grounds of federal prison right there. I just want to let you know. It's also relevant to what a RICO charges. You're also posing an impermissible threat. Those are independent grounds of federal prison. I just want to point that out. In addition, at 9:50 in the morning, while the entity is terrorizing me with the amplification of helicopter activity, while I'm on the phone with a malicious actor, a psychopath that's acting in concert to psychologically torment while creating audible activity, I'm in the specific environment, and that audible activity is contributing to the maintenance of that specific environment, which is criminal. While they are group stalking. Understand, group stalking is not only in relevant position. Group stalking is accomplished through any facilitation, using the telephone as a method of creating noise in the engineered environment so demons such as the LAPD can continue engaging in monitoring. So that all 59 units and the demons that are stalking in relevant position in the laundry room can continue monitoring. While the demons are pacing up Alvarado Street and driving in and out and all over the property of Silverview townhomes, they're all monitoring while I am inside of my office. They don't have to look at me. These are demons. In addition, these demons are engaging in criminal conduct because it's actually in concert with the government. It's facilitating a government criminal system. That's grounds of federal prison. So I want to make sure that you understand that. This is requiring federal prison. Carlo Lopez, you're understanding, again, like I stated, what is the policy, and you're literally understanding why as you're witnessing the ongoing systematic maintenance of that system and the intolerable facilitation. Third-party group stalkers, Maria Solis Alvarez, Carlo Lopez, license plate 9FCX513, group stalking at the specific environment, monitoring, engaged in also federal stalking on the venue of the internet. He's going to federal prison. Okay, and this is all relevant to what are the people of the state. All 59 units, like I've stated, are third parties who are going to federal prison. You're understanding speaker companies and the prosecution of this third party, which is nothing other than the people of the state who are engaging and facilitating a corrupt government that's monitoring American citizens in the state of California. They do it in concert. The state of California cannot do it and does it in concert with the people. And this whole operation is demonic, which is going to be relevant for a prosecution for terrorism in the United States, America's version of terrorism. You have, unfortunately, government actors, the government, which is a puppet of Satan, while in this country we want to call ourselves and identify with Christianity. But I want to let you know that this criminal system is directly rebutting that. It is disproving that. It is demonstrating otherwise. Okay, now I'm here to testify, let you know, not everybody serves Satan. It's a minority of those that don't serve Satan. And that's why you have things such as group stalking, gang stalking by the government. Those American citizens that are in this country that are not of that condition have a right to not be subject to criminal monitoring, which is state surveillance. That is a matter of public corruption by a public entity. And it is being facilitated by Don Noggle while he is creating audible activity, while he's in operation of a communication device, which is relevant to Title 18, Section 2261A. It's also harassment as that entity while you are engaged in that pattern of conduct. And it is also engaging what is group stalking by virtue of audible activity. You're not only engaging the criminal elements of monitoring while you're a demon stalking in a helicopter, Exhibit A. He's going to federal prison. He's also engaging in what is group stalking while at a distance using the audible activity creation through the operation of a communication device. You're a group stalker. Group stalking is based on the criminal elements of monitoring. Okay, so the entity is engaged in group stalking through communication devices, and you have the same demons that are providing ongoing evidence against its own criminal cooperative, and that is Don Noggle. And that's exactly what he's engaging in, just as LAPD are engaging in. And the threat that Don Noggle poses to any minor children that he has custody of, this highly malicious and despicable criminal system is directly revealing a disturbing mind state. That mind state that is capable of terrorizing another while keeping a smile on your face, hiding the weapon behind your back as though nothing is going on and you are engaged in what is entirely vicious and despicable. It is criminal. It is unacceptable. It's demented. And the entity is aware of that. That is a threatening mind state. That's a threatening individual, which comprises a whole entity acting in concert with a corrupt law enforcement agency who at 9:59 a.m. is sounding more amplified helicopter activity, which is serving to further enhance Don Noggle's term in federal prison. That's all that's doing. This is, again, the psychopaths. This is the public safety concern that at this point is exposed, it's being prosecuted, and you're understanding the necessity of permeating the lives of the entity that is in every regard showing the inability to compose itself, to control itself, to correct itself. Okay? This is requiring the federal intrusion for purposes of neutralizing the threat. Don Noggle, not only the threat that he poses to the American public by being a documented group stalker, criminally facilitating it and maliciously doing so in unfathomable ways, which I have articulated for the public to both recognize and understand for your own benefit and to also witness justice by one, and you are empowered to do the same wherever you're at in this country. Because I'm in the United States. We have a constitution here. So the entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct to the demise of Don Noggle, who's a documented third party, to the demise of speaker companies, to the demise of Todd Speaker, to the demise of Carlo Lopez, who's going to federal prison, to the demise of Maria Solis Alvarez, who literally mimicked the same exact criminal conduct. It's not an ongoing coincidence. It's called the pattern of conduct. It is criminal monitoring in relevant position in violation of your constitutional and human rights. It's federal stalking in violation of existing federal law. That is, again, Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And engaging in federal stalking, and I'm just referencing the specific language, it specifically speaks to the severity of the situation when prosecuting and punishing for federal stalking. And like I stated, Don Noggle engaging in federal stalking, Carlo Lopez engaging in federal stalking, Fedder's distributors engaging in federal stalking, Tina Ree engaging in federal stalking, group stalking in the laundry room, living at the crime scene, Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal engaging in federal stalking represents an entity that's engaging in practicing state surveillance. And I'm saying practicing state surveillance because state surveillance, this is demonic activity and it's criminal at the same time. It's prosecuting a government that is practicing what is entirely demented. And you are witnessing that mental illness that is made manifest when you are breaking down the criminal conduct and the necessary mind state that you are suffering from while you're engaging in that, and then continuously engaging in that with knowledge of wrongfulness. You know that you've been exposed, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it is so demented. It is so sick. The permeated lives of that entity is necessary as a matter of justice. And you're talking about the answer, the solution that is commensurate with the threat, with the danger created by that entity. So I want to be clear, 9:59 a.m. while I'm documenting it, you heard that amplified helicopter activity. That is ongoing criminal conduct corroborating, which I don't need, but this is what the entity is providing. Where the entity is group stalking directly, the people of the state are group stalking vicariously, and it's occurring in a specific environment pursuant to an ongoing pattern that is well established, and it is beyond any ability to have the same pattern while I'm literally documenting what are supposedly strangers, but you're looking at what is the ongoing pattern of their behavior and their ongoing connectedness. That connectedness is shown through the specific environment. That connectedness is shown through that ongoing simultaneity of conduct activity that is centered around what I do as I do it, including on a communication device. That connectedness is shown through what is the conduct with the engineered light conduct, crossing path, and the impossible occurrence that sunlight is ever going to ricochet off of your car. This is not the Jetsons, and I don't even think on the Jetsons they had created anything advanced such that light shoots out of the side of your cars while you're driving under the sun or driving in the shade, driving where the sun is behind your vehicle, driving where the sun is in a position that's in front of your vehicle. Nothing ever creates what is light that will ricochet off of your vehicle onto surfaces. It's light that's so powerful it doesn't disappear when you step into it like normal light does, creating what is shade as you step into it. This is engineered light. This is the engineered light that's always remaining present, which is also speaking to the connectedness with regard to an entity that is a population and they are of a specific condition while that phenomenon surrounds and their behavior is revealing that targeting, then you have what is the ongoing documented, despicable and very highly revealing conduct, not only of that of a corrupt law enforcement agency who was engaging in this criminal system, revealing what is necessary, the absolute outright removal from the corrupt and what is the very troubling leadership of Dominic Choi. This criminal system is revealing what is disqualification from that role, and this is also going to be the standard when you are documented engaged in what is the act of a domestic enemy, criminal surveillance by corrupt law enforcement agencies. You will be summarily removed from that position. The evidence of that crime is the grounds of it. In addition, you are understanding what is revealing the very highly malicious criminal conduct that's threatening the lives of the public, the multitudes, including those whom you're engaging in that criminal system with. They are a threat to each other and to the innocent American citizens that they are keeping under surveillance. The pattern of conduct, every aspect of the elements of that criminal act, they're literally engaging. That's a psychopath in the laundry room slamming down while that demon knows I'm moving my hand. That's going to be removed from minor children. That's going to sit in federal prison. That's going to be subject to routine mental examinations. That's also going to be removed from the position of police chief. Okay? It is currently, again, 10:05 a.m. This is P.O.C. That was documentation of what is harassment by an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. This is, again, the property management supervisor. He's like up there, okay, in position, and he's going all the way out of his way to call little old me in order to make what is a minute adjustment. But nonetheless, he can call and talk about the daisies and talk about some birthday cake he had last night and how delicious it was. We could be besties. Understand that. Don't be distracted by the specific details. The details do matter with regard to the substance of the speech. But you're looking at the veneer. The veneer becomes legally relevant based on the facts and circumstances. Whether the entity wants to be friendly, but understand there's nothing friendly about monitoring me. So it is nonetheless the same threat to your life. Okay, so what am I getting at? It doesn't matter what he was talking about. It is still the elements of monitoring in concert with the entity that's providing evidence against him. And this is, again, a government criminal system that is literally imploding. Okay. And this is necessary for teaching the rest of the country that thinks that you're going to get away with this and it's not going to be found out and that you're not going to suffer the consequences. I'm here to let you know that that is not the case. Okay. It is currently 10:06 a.m. and this is P.O.C.